Welcome to this edition of You Can Get There From Here. I'm Dr. Joe Moore, Chair of the Department of Communication and Digital Media Production at the University of Central Missouri, and it's my pleasure every week to get to sit down and visit with some of our alumni. I talk to those who graduated in digital media production, some who got their degrees in communication studies, others who got their master's degree. Today we are talking with Daniel Barnett. Daniel is a 2015 graduate of the University of Central Missouri with a degree in digital media production. And Daniel, when I was putting this together, I saw that 10 years, really? How is it possible? How have you been?
We're doing pretty good. Clearly, I track the decade by the loss of hair. It's taken its toll. But yeah, somehow it has been 10 years, which I agree with you is absolutely mind-blowing. I was writing out some thoughts for this, and I had to write down a decade ago, and that absolutely blew my mind. But we're doing well. Been able to have a modicum of success throughout the career, and family's doing good. So it's great to hear from you, Joe. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
Well, I'm glad that we're able to get you on here. You've had a modicum of success. That's a nice way of putting that. We'll get into all of that, but let's start out with your backstory. Where did you go to school? What brought you to UCM? What made you decide to do digital media production?
Originally from Harrisonville, Missouri, and Warrensburg was actually home for my family. Central Missouri was just about 80% of my family had ended up there. So that was an easy choice for me. My parents were very excited that I chose there. I actually came to Central Missouri originally for criminal justice, and then made a switch about halfway through, and got into communication. Always been a big sports guy, so the digital media production, especially the sports broadcasting element of it, were something that I was really, really excited about. It helped that the program was very inviting and it was a very hands-on thing, which is a wonderful way that I like to learn. So got into that program really the second I was able to get my hands on it, and really, like I said, I learned well hands-on. So as soon as we were able to start doing that, my passion for it took off even more than I thought it would, and we started running with that. Graduated, like you said, in 2015, and had a handful of jobs throughout the industry, which ultimately led me back home to Harrisonville, not in the sports capacity, but still in the communication capacity. I found along the way that another thing that I was really passionate about, much like sports, was helping people. And that's what this job has been able to do for me, is allow me to touch the lives of people in my community, and help them throughout their day-to-day, making sure they have the information that they need to live and enjoy living within our community. And it's been really fun.
That's great. It's so wonderful to hear a student who sees their life evolve, sees their interest evolve, and then land where they feel like they're really making a difference. I want to go back and talk about one of the things that you really seem to stress was the hands-on. And we tell our students, our digital media production students are required to do a practicum with one of our student media, and then 3 hours of practicum and or an internship. I always stress to students to do the practicum for the credit and then do an internship for a little, one of their elective courses. You really took that to heart because, and I'm going to miss something here. I'm trying to remember everything you did. You were a play-by-play announcer. You did some on television work through CTV. You worked with the CTV Sports Network. You also did an internship with KWKJ-The Bar here in Warrensburg.
Yep.
And you did an internship in television in Kansas City. I mean, you took the hands-on, get out, get experience beyond just the classroom to heart. Did I miss anything in there?
No, I think you pretty well nailed it in there. And that was something that I didn't really know about myself until college. And once I was able to kind of grasp, like, hey, I learn really well when I'm able to put my hands on it. Then things really took off. I was able to see that, yeah, the courses I did the best with in high school were the hands-on courses. And so now, yes, of course, this makes sense. And yeah, we were able to get into some internships, did some stuff part-time with the bar there in Warrensburg, working with Dusty Likens, calling Warrensburg High School football games, and then doing Warrensburg High School basketball as well, and traveling all over the metro area. and covering that conference, which was really neat. Parlayed that into an internship with KMBC Channel 9 there in Kansas City, which was so incredibly eye-opening. You guys did an awesome job of preparing us for, hey, here's some of the stuff that you're going to need to be able to do in the industry. And a lot of it, I can remember several lectures where we're sitting in there and you're like, hey, in the industry, it's going to be faster. You're going to have way shorter turnaround times. You're going to be able to need to go. And it's like, yeah. We'll get there when we get there. But once you're in that, holy cow, you want to talk about flying and turning things around, being able to produce and write and edit all of that in such short time frames. And it was so cool to be thrown into the fire and have those hands-on opportunities to say, yeah, let's go ahead and let's create. You spoke about working with CTV and being part of Sports Page and some of the different opportunities that were there. And so that taught me a lot about, hey, here's how you lay out a story and all of that. But for those, I'd have a week to put together a story. We get up to KMBC and they're like, all right, you're going to go out and you're going to do this story and this story and this story. And they all need to be ready by 6 o'clock. Obviously, I was not the on-air personality there, but getting to watch these trained professionals go through and go interview, shoot, edit, and send off a package for three different stories leading up to the show at 6 o'clock was really phenomenal. And it was like, hey, these professors here, they might be right. And that was really eye-opening. They did an awesome job of just saying, hey, what do you want to learn? And I think one of the things that the Lord was really gracious with me is at that time, he definitely had me open to whatever you'll teach me. I'm here to learn it. So picked up working on a news desk, editing, producing stuff in studio, teleprompter, camera work, so that I could pick up really a lot. And since I do learn so well hands-on, the amount of knowledge that I gained in that time, it was only a 3-month internship, but I mean, it was exponential growth. It was really incredible.
So a lot of students, when they think about that, going out and they're a student and they're still going to be a student when they go do this internship. So it's not like, okay, I'm done. I don't have a choice. I've got to go. But they're going to try and do this internship, and there's oftentimes that little bit of fear that am I ready for it, that trepidation. Did you have that? And if so, how'd you overcome it? And if you didn't have it, why not?
Yeah, I definitely had some of that trepidation coming in there. I mean, that was so incredibly eye-opening about how much was expected and how quickly and professionally it had to be done. And I could talk the talk, but I had never actually had to put it into practice and be really depended on for that. So that was really eye-opening and very much intimidating. I remember physically shaking one of the first times I was there and watching the news be put together and the shows be cut together and how I've never run more in my life than in a newsroom. Um, and you start to get this inferiority complex. Like, all right, I know what this stuff is, but there's no way I could do this. I remember at the end of the internship, they allowed us to put some studio work on tape to sit in the chair. I wanted to do sports, so I was at the sports wall and I was rolling highlights and talking through, giving some play-by-play over some highlights, breaking down a story that we had cut together. I think it was Park Hill High School football, their kind of preseason. And as we were putting that together, watching it back after spending a summer watching the professionals do it, it's just like, oh my gosh, I might never be able to hack it in this industry. This is horrible. And it was really wonderful. There were some incredibly gracious people there who kind of coached you up and gave you some really fine-tuned pointers that even on the second take, I mean, you could see it being incrementally better. But I think one of the things that really helped me to be successful there, because I definitely had that trepidation walking in and that nervousness, was just an understanding. I think one of the things that was really good at Central Missouri was I gained an understanding of, all right, here's what I've got so far. And I definitely had a level of confidence because you guys had provided me an opportunity to do so many different things. But I knew that what I was doing there compared to what Al Michaels or Ryan Lefevre or some of these guys, Mitch Holtis, are doing, there were worlds difference. So getting in there and having the opportunity to um, Ah, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Dadgummit. Um, do you mind if I back up? I
Sure.
won't do the whole thing, but
No, that's
yeah.
fine.
So one of the things that you guys provided that was really wonderful was an opportunity to get my hands on a lot of things and to really build some confidence, especially for me when it comes to play-by-play or talking through highlights. That was really, really helpful. I knew that it wasn't at the same level as like a Mitch Holtis or Ryan Lefevre, Al Michaels, obviously worlds difference. But I knew that I could at least at a Central Missouri level and at the best level that I had ever done it, I could do it. And that was a wonderful confidence. But I knew that if I did not step into that trepidation and did not try to take on new challenges, that's where I'd stay. I would stay good enough to do sports page once a week at Central Missouri. And while that is wonderful and while I really appreciated it, I knew that if I wanted my career to go anywhere, that I needed to put myself out there. I needed to try new things. I needed to be vulnerable with here's what I have to offer. Please teach me. Please break this down so that it can be built up better, so that I can grow and take steps professionally to get even better at this and to really develop my career. I think that's
So
something that helped me a lot.
yeah, so if I boil that down, what you got from your internship is number one, your professors did have a pretty good idea of what they were talking about. And number
Absolutely.
two, that you've got these professionals out there who were in your seat, who at one time, the best they could do was sports page once a week at the University of Central Missouri, producing a story that they had a week to produce. And now, after years and years of practice and dedication to the craft, now they're professional and they want to help you get there. Is that kind of what I'm taking from that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're working with some of the MMJs. They're the multimedia journalists who they are one-man band news stories. One of them, his name is Alan Shope. He did a wonderful job of showing me some of his original takes from the first station that he was at, from his time in college. And he's like, "Hey, I still have some of these tapes. Why don't you watch them?" And I was like, "All right, I'm not terribly far off." And he's like, "Okay, now look at what I do after practice." And he really preached dedication. He's like, go home and stand in front of the mirror and do stand-ups, conduct interviews, go and have a conversation with your mom and edit footage together just of here's how we cook dinner. And practice it. It might be corny, but this is what's going to make it to where you are a professional and you're able to do this really well.
And see, I love that because you should have a little bit of fear. I mean, you've not ever done this before, and now you're out there. I'll be honest with you. If I had to go to an internship at a radio station or a news station, they were expecting me to be on the air, I'd be nervous. And I've been doing this for a while.
Sure.
But that fear can help motivate you if you don't let it cripple you. And it's what I always say. You've heard me say this a million times. Don't be afraid of failure. They're there to help you. That's the beauty of our internship partners. I've so
Yep.
enjoyed working with them because they know they're part of our village and they want to help young people grow. And so that's one of my favorite memories of you was your willingness and your courage to go try new things and go to the internship here locally and then go up to Kansas City and do the internship. And you mentioned that you felt like you had a good handle, you had a good idea, you knew the base words and what it took because of your classes. Which ones really stood out to you that really helped you feel prepared to, you know, fear or not, step into
Right.
that internship role?
Yeah. There were several. I'll highlight one or two, but I want to say that the professors at Central Missouri, while I was there, I don't know how many of them are still there, but they did such a wonderful job every course of tying it back to, hey, here's where you're going to need this. I remember taking audio courses that I was like, okay, I don't know that this is going to matter much for me, but then having them take the time to really show how these all integrate and how they all work together, and how you need to be proficient in a lot of things to really have success. That was really instrumental for me. The sports broadcasting classes, specifically the intro and the advanced, those really moved the needle for me. I remember taking the intro in my first semester after changing majors, and the ability A, for it to be hands-on, B, to have professors who wanted me to succeed and created an environment where I wasn't afraid to fail, who plugged me in right away and said, "Hey, why don't you get in there and try it and see if this is something you enjoy?" That really changed the game for me. And just like I said earlier, it kind of ignited a passion for, hey, I really love this, and I would really like to do this. And I
It
remember,
helped that you were pretty good at it right out of the gate. I mean, that did help a little bit.
yeah, well, and I appreciate you saying that, because I remember my very first experience, both on just being on a call sheet, and then also doing actual play-by-play. Both I thought went terribly. I ran a camera for an indoor track meet. I think it was pole vault. I had never been behind a camera at a sporting event in my life, and you plugged me right in and you gave me an opportunity. And I remember thinking, that was horrible. They're never going to have me back. And in class the next day, it was all right. We've got this event and this event. Daniel, where do you want to be? And that was really welcoming. The same with the play-by-play stuff. It was a basketball game against Missouri Western, and I thought I absolutely tanked. And same thing. You guys brought me in and said, "Hey, what do you want to do next? Let's keep growing. Here's some pointers." Obviously, there's always positive coaching that is needed to help build up, and got tons of that. But the fact that that environment existed, almost like a sandbox environment, where it's like, hey, let's really try to put something together here. If it doesn't work, that's okay. We'll break it down, we'll learn, and we'll go back. That really, really helped me, and gave me really the opportunity, like you said earlier, about not being afraid to step in there. A little bit of fear, but knowing that if I don't do this, then we won't get that constructive criticism that'll help us grow even more.
Yeah, that's one of the other things I tell students is you're not going to get better at it by not doing it. And
100%.
you were always willing to do it and to give it a try, whatever it was we asked you to do. And it seems to have paid off. I mean, who says you can't go home again? Now you're back in Harrisonville. You have worked for several years in television. You're the public information officer for the City of Harrisonville, which is it's a pretty big deal. What do you do in this job?
Ooh, it's a great opportunity and something that I have really enjoyed. It comes with a handful of hats. But so we do a lot. When you ask, what do you do? That's where the chuckle
So
comes
maybe
from. It's
easier
like,
to
oh,
say, what don't you do?
yeah, sure. I don't do the finances, and I'm grateful for that. Um, no, so really, it is the go-to person for all things communication from the city, internally, more importantly, externally, anything that needs to go to the public, but also anything that comes from the public, and being kind of the clearinghouse for public communication, which can range anywhere from, hey, how do I reserve a shelter at the park, to, hey, I have this major infrastructure issue at my home that is impacting my day-to-day life. How can we get it corrected? That all runs through me and then is filtered out. Also dealing with some of the more traditional PIO duties, working with some of the news stations in the Kansas City area, the newspapers here locally, with either news that we're excited about, or news that impacts the public that we need to make sure we communicate clearly. And so writing press releases, doing television appearances, radio appearances, things like that, and interviews with the newspaper, also coordinating a lot of that for some of our staff members who are a little less comfortable being behind a TV camera, or in front of a TV camera, or with a newspaper reporter sitting across from them, coaching them, being a good support piece for them, kind of helping them to work through, here are the talking points that we want to move forward with, the message that the city of Harrisonville wants to communicate to our residents, our businesses, the people who live, work, and play here. And so it's been really neat, especially being from here. It's even more special. Harrisonville is a good sized community. We're 10,000, but it's also small enough that a good chunk of the folks who call, I know who they are, or I know a connection to them. So it's really nice to be able to help the people that you know.
Do you ever miss being on the radio or on television?
If you asked 18-year-old Daniel what you thought he'd be doing a little over a decade later, he would not say this. And there are times that I sit back and I say, wow, this is not what we thought we'd be doing. But every time that I do that, because yeah, I miss going and covering the Big 12 tournament or sitting in the press box at Chiefs games during the playoffs. That stuff was beautiful. Definitely, it's hard to replace that. But being here, being able to make a real difference in people's lives, that is, the Lord has really put that on my heart as something that I am passionate about. It's also created some really awesome opportunities for my family. And man, Joe, it's hard to replace those when you find something that works for you, works for the family, continues to hit one of your passions. Yeah, it's not sports, something that I really nerd out about, but it's allowing me to make an impact and a really positive impact. And 18-year-old me would have never said this is where I'd be sitting, but man, 32-year-old me is very grateful that this is where we're sitting.
Well, I remember you as being a strong man of faith, and I'm glad you're staying true to yourself and following your heart there. My next question, and I'm going to lead into it with a story that I'm betting you remember. I believe it was for one of the sports broadcasting classes, probably advanced, where I had you all interview a professional who had the job that you wanted to do someday. You most people are going to reach out to somebody here. They'll look for somebody in Warrensburg or maybe somebody in Kansas City or what have you. Somebody who wanted to be a play-by-play announcer might reach out to a local radio host or something like that. You reached out to Rex Hudler. You got a hold of Rex Hudler, the color commentator for the Kansas City Royals. And I remember you coming back and saying that he said, "Well, what do you want to do one day?" And you said, "Well, I want your job." And I thought, number one, that's some guts right there to tell the guy that. Number two, just to reach out to him in the first place. Do you remember what his response was?
Um, I still have his responses. I recorded that and I still have it somewhere. I have not listened to it in a little bit, so I do not remember verbatim what it was. But based off what I do know about Rex, I'm sure it was very encouraging and very uplifting, because that seems to be what he eats, drinks, sleeps, is positivity. But no, I don't remember off the top of my
Well,
head.
I remember it was a positive. I mean, he had to give a positive interview, but for that part of it, because he's a color analyst, he's not the
Sure,
play-by-play
sure, sure,
guy.
sure, sure.
He's the color
Yeah.
analyst. He said, well, something along the lines of, well, you're going to need to work on your curveball because if you want my job, you're going to have to have played in the major leagues.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I
that's
think it
that's a
might have been
good
a
point.
little late for that opportunity for Daniel Barnett.
Maybe.
But you have landed on your feet. You're not a professional baseball announcer, but you have found peace. You have found happiness in your hometown. You got a beautiful family. Our new slogan here at the university is redefining what's possible. What does that mean to you? Think about 18-year-old Daniel and now 32-year-old Daniel. What does that mean to you?
Uh, I mean, it's a wonderful motto to have, both for the university and for life. And it's something that um, I know that at one point, and a big part of my journey at Central Missouri was just that. I came to university. I came to Central Missouri with at a difficult time in my life. I had some things happen that had made a career path that I really was passionate about not possible, and so I came in kind of just like, let's throw a dart and pick that, and we'll just do it because what I wanted to do was not possible. And throughout my time there, I had people really encourage me, and put things on my heart. The Lord kind of also worked a lot in that to say, hey, why don't we find what you really love and you really enjoy? And let's go after that. That might seem like, hey, you're switching majors midway through for something that you've never touched before, but let's jump into it. And the fact that we were able to do that, the university was so supportive, the faculty there was so supportive, my peers in really giving opportunities, being uplifting, being a place of grace to be able to fail, to be able to ask questions that when you go to ask them, you're just like, man, this is the stupidest questions anyone's ever asked. And then to take that and say, hey, that's a wonderful question. Let's give you the opportunity here to grow in this. It was really, really fascinating. And I think really kind of created a cornerstone for something that has allowed me to build a career that still has me in the communication field a decade later, and hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Well, and that's one of the things too that I share with students is you're a storyteller. You like to create content, you like to share stories, you like to communicate. You love sports. I mean, you like you said, you like to nerd out on sports. You can nerd out on sports no matter what your career is.
Yeah.
You wanted to be a filmmaker and you decide your career takes you a different direction and you're not making movies. You can still love movies. Heck, these
Yeah.
days you can still even talk about music. You can start your own podcast and
Right.
talk about movies. There's ways to get involved with that thing that you love, whether it's sports or film or theater or politics. It doesn't have to be your career. You find the career that uses the skills you're good at, that you like practicing, that you like doing, and you work to make a difference. And it feels like that's what you've done. And I'm so proud of you for that. Because of that, I want to end this interview with a couple of pieces of advice from Daniel Barnett. What would you tell to a current UCM student who's trying to decide what it is they want to do for their career as they're preparing for that next step? And then what would you tell to a high school or community college student or somebody who maybe took a couple gap years and now they're thinking about coming back? What would you tell them and why would you tell them to come study communication and DMP at the University of Central Missouri?
Yeah. First, Joe, I appreciate the really kind words there. That's very encouraging.
Well, I mean that.
Uh,
You were a great
yeah.
one.
Yeah. I appreciate that. You are as well. And we do not have time here for me to share the impact that you had on me and continue to. But I want you to know I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
So you said a current student and then a prospective student.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for a current student, I think the thing that I really benefited the most, and that I think Central Missouri is set up really uniquely to benefit, is the opportunity to expose yourself to so many different things, to so many different elements of the industry, whether it's camera work, on-air work, script writing, things in the studio like running a teleprompter, running a replay machine, things like that. Those are things that when I came to Central Missouri, I had never done. And I got plugged into right away and it said, hey, let's get not just your feet wet, let's get your knees wet, let's get you in this and let's get you really working on it. So that you can find what you really truly enjoy. But B, when you go and apply for jobs and go look to get into the industry, you're well versed. You have a wonderful array of knowledge that makes you really marketable. And so when you are there and when you are thinking about classes, thinking about opportunities, don't be afraid to step into them. Like we talked about, there's that wonderful grace-based opportunity to grow, to fail, to ask questions. And I think that is something that makes Central Missouri very unique. I know that there are several other universities where if you go and you're able to get a job at one of their studios and you make mistakes or you ask the wrong questions, it's going to be hard for you to stick around and hard for you to get opportunities. Central Missouri continues to funnel those opportunities to you and to say, hey, this is what you want to be passionate about. Great. Let's give you the opportunity to succeed. That's something that I definitely experienced. And I'm excited for everybody who's there currently who's going to get to experience those things. And that rolls right into for a prospective student, for someone who's thinking about going there. One of the things that I thought when I was going to change majors was, well, I can't stay here. I need to go. Mizzou's got a great J school. Let's hop down the road to Mizzou. They're going to have so many more opportunities. I'm not going to be able to make anything of myself here. And thankfully, through some incredibly wise counsel and some prayer, I was shown that, hey, staying here might be a good idea. And it ended up being the best idea I could possibly have. The opportunities that exist there and the desire that the faculty and the staff, the peers that you're going to have there have for each individual to have success and to grow in what they're passionate in within the industry is so immense and is unlike anything I've ever seen anywhere else, and really creates an awesome opportunity for you once you do graduate and take that next step to come out equipped to have success to work long in the communication and the digital media production fields, which at times can be incredibly challenging. I remember looking for my first job. It took a while to find a spot, but once I was able to be in, I was able to use so much of what I had picked up there at Central Missouri and apply that. And I think that has really sustained me throughout my career. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
Well, we're very, very grateful for you, Daniel. You've been a wonderful advocate for our university and for the program. You're doing some wonderful work there in Harrisonville. Keep telling those stories. Keep representing your hometown. Take care of that family. And next time you get back here in Warrensburg, you better stop by. We're proud of you, and we're looking forward to seeing great things out of you.
Awesome. I really appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much for having me on. And again, thank you for everything that you've done for my life and my career.
You betcha, buddy. Thank you so much. Thanks all of you for tuning in today. Remember, you can catch every episode on our YouTube channel through the UCM Media Network. That's youtube.com/UCMMN. You can also listen on Spotify. Special thanks to Jake Mager for creating our theme music for us. This is Dr. Joe Moore reminding you, you can get there from here. Have a great day.